Okay, this is how to harmonise an ascending major scale. Let's have a look. Okay, so I've got my simple scale. I then just have to have fine chords that fit with it and that I can use without creating parallel fifths or octaves. Okay, so we're going to start off maybe with chord 1. And then we'll go for, well, something a bit different. We need some contrary motion, so we can't go for 2A. I'm going to go for 5B. And then this is going 1, 2, 3 effectively. And 1, 5B. And then what could we have next? Well, we could either have, so listen, we could go to 6, or we could come back to 1, which I think would be really nice. So let's try that. Remember, we mostly want to be using 1 and 5 as much as we can, especially in root and first inversion. Especially if it gives us a smooth bass line. Okay, so 1, 5B1. Maybe you should work backwards as well. If we want to give ourselves some kind of cadence, at the end here we're going to have to go 5-1, sort of cadencing on the tonic. So yeah, we could have 5-1. An alternative to this could be 7B to 1. But this is an inverted cadence, and it's not so strong, and it's not so common in certainly Bach's chorales, so we're probably going to leave that option out for now. Okay, so let's come back. So something 5-1. Okay, well normally cadence we would quite often have 2B5-1, which would sound like this. 2-5-1 might work as well. We could even have 6-5-1. And or even 2-7B, would that work? Let's have a listen. No, with 2-7B, unfortunately the 7th would resolve upwards, which would not be ideal. We normally want to resolve our 7ths down by step. So we can't do 2-7B. I think on this particular one I'm going to go for 6-5-1. I really like the contrary motion that gives me between the outer parts, soprano and bass. So let's pop that in. Great. Okay, so the end of our phrase, something like that. Right, okay, so we need to bridge the gap. Might need to bring the bass up a little bit as well as the soprano is getting higher. So we started off 1B1, 5B1. We could then go to 4B or 4A. Don't want to go to 2A because without contrary motion in the outer parts I'm likely to get some parallel fifths in there. So 2A wouldn't be so good. 2B, 1 to 2B, sounds a little bit weak, so perhaps not that. I think my favourite is going to be 4B here. Let's see if that can work. Now it's a bit of a leap up to the A. I think for now I'm hopefully going to see if I can make it work down here somehow. It's a long way to go. Next chord. So again, leaping up to 4B sounds a bit dodgy too. It's kind of what I want to do, but I think I'm going to parallel between 4 and 5 if I did that one. Let's try something else. Those first inversions sound a little bit weak. Oh yeah, this sounds much better. Okay, so we've got 1, 5B, 1, 4A. Not the French composer. Let's pop that up here. Don't know if the rubber tool's going to work today. Yes, it is. Fantastic. Let's try the next bit. Okay, back to 1B would be really good. Ideally, we've had 2 1As already, so a bit of variation here. Let's pop that in. So that was 1B. Lovely. Okay, let's have a look at this and then. Great, so let's see if this can work. Let's fill in the alto and tenor and see what happens. Let's get rid of that. We did 4A in the end here, so we'll just take away the B. And it's probably bugging you that I haven't coloured my notes in, so we'll also do that now. Nearly there. Okay, right, let's see if we can fit in the alto and tenor. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge at the beginning. Everything's quite low. Okay, so let's just check we've got a complete chord. So if we first of all, so chord 1 is going to be C, E, G, chord 2, sorry, the next chord we use is 5, which is G, B, D. And then back to chord 1 again. And then chord 4 is going to be F, A, C. And then chord 1, C, E, G again. And 6, A, C, E. 5, G, B, D. And chord 1, C, E, G. Okay, and what notes have we used so far? We've used 1, 2 C's. We've used D and B, E and C, F and F, E and G. And chord 6 we've used 2 A's so far. Chord 5, G and B, and chord 1, C and C. Okay, let's see how that works. Normally I'd like to double the third in chord 6, so that's my only reservation at this stage. Let's have a look. So, can't have any overlapping, so we'll have to put the G in the alto there, and then the tenor on the E. And it looks like the texture's a bit bottom heavy if you're just looking at the bass clef, but actually, because the soprano is so low, that will work nicely. So we'll just cross off those. So we've used E and G. Moving on to the next chord, we've got, well, we need to have a G, and we need to double a note in chord 5. We've got to be careful we don't double the middle note of chord 5, because the third of 5 is the leading note, which we mustn't double. Don't want to double a dissonant note. So let's come back here. So yes, we're going to double, let's try doubling the G perhaps. So if we give the G to the alto again, and the tenor is going to move up and double the same note as the alto. Okay, sounds like this. Oh, missing something there. Let's try that again. That's it. So we've got 2 G's there. Always a good idea to double a primary note when you're looking to double a note. Okay, on to the next chord 1. C, E, G. We've used the C and the E, so we need a G again. Now which voice are we going to give that to? Maybe we should look at our next chord and work backwards. F, A, C. Well, in chord 4, the primary notes are F and C, so those would be the notes that we could double. I think the most obvious thing is probably going to be to have the C in the alto and the A in the tenor. Let's see, did that work? Moving backwards, what note should we give the alto? We've got C and E. Well, we're going to need to move the alto up, otherwise if the alto has a G here, if the alto has a G, then there's going to be overlapping with the tenor's note down here. So I think we'll give it a C. And that just leaves the G for the tenor. And the first bar would then sound like this. Seems pretty good so far. I think the hardest bit might still be to come. I'm going to do the cadence and work backwards. Always like to have a top heavy texture normally, keep the tenor high. So I'm going to give the G here, double the root. I'm going to give that to the alto today. And I can't double the leading note, so the tenor can't have a B. And we want to have a complete chord, so we have to give the D to the tenor. Okay, so this is the final chord. The leading note is in the soprano and is rising. Okay, so let's make sure we get a complete chord. Let's go for, try something like this. The only problem would be if I added the 7th to chord 5 here. If I added the 7th here, it would have to resolve down to an E in the alto. And that would mean that the tenor, in order to give a complete chord, would have to get to a G. And it wouldn't be able to go up to the G, because that would overlap with the alto, and it would have to fall to the G, which would give you parallel fifths with the bass. So on this 7/8 soprano line, you don't want to add the 7th to chord 5. Okay, so looks pretty complete at the end there. I just need to cross off the notes that I've used. Fab, let's work backwards. Now this might be the trickier bit. Let's see if it looks as simple as it is. So we've got an E and a C. Obviously have to give the E to the alto to avoid overlapping, and the C down here, and that gives me quite smooth parts as well. Don't be afraid to make the alto and tenor really simple, static, as conjunct as you can, just moving smoothly from one chord to the next. So if you C and E, if I just do a little check here, I can just check for parallels. Well, that's 9/6 there, so that's okay. So sounds pretty good. No parallels so far. So just one more chord to go. We've got chord 1B. Again, in chord 1, the primary notes are C and G, so those are the notes we're looking to double. We've got the G in the top part. So let's add in the missing notes. So we need a C in the alto, and then we need, which one should we give the bass? Well, we could give it a G, and then it's leaping up a fourth, or we could actually move it onto the C. The root is generally the best note to double. It's the most consonant note of any chord, so I think in this situation I think we'll go with that. We'll double the C. Okay, and then we have it. There is a chord progression harmonising every degree of the scale from 1 to 8. Let's have a listen and see what it sounds like. And if we checked it through, parallel fifths and octaves, none so far. That's the soprano and alto checked. Soprano and tenor. Mostly moving in sixths at the end there, very nice. No parallel fifths or octaves yet. Let's try soprano and bass. That seems fine. Just going onto that octave sound is slightly bare, but actually it's not exposed octaves because the soprano hasn't left, so we're okay with that. Yeah, so then you've just still got some other checks to do. We need to check the alto and tenor. Sorry, let's try that again. There's a couple of unison moments, but there's no overlapping or parallels there to worry about. And then finally, tenor and bass. Great, so we've done our checks. What we could then look to do, if we wanted to make it more interesting, is add in some decoration without creating any extra parallel fifths or octaves as well. That's the trick. So let's look for some easy places to do that. Well, it looks like somewhere right at the beginning, the E to F here looks like it's calling out for a passing note. But if you have a listen, what happens? By adding it, we end up with parallels between the soprano and the tenor, so that one won't work. Let's have a look, see if there's any others. So there's another gap of a third. If we have a look over here, there's another one there, and another one there. It might be we can plug one of those. Let's have a little look. So that seems okay. Adding the passing note makes a fourth, moving up to another fourth. So parallel fourths, but not fifths or octaves, so we might be okay with that. Let's have a look. Anything else could be wrong with that? No, they seem okay. So we could possibly put something in there. I'm not sure about the parallel fourths though. Possibly. Let's see if the other option is any better. So we've got also in the alto, moving from the E to the G. Yeah, I think that one looks even less problematic. Actually makes thirds that time with the soprano when we add the passing note, and yeah, I think that's probably even better. We could try putting it one in just for fun. Let's try it and see what we think. And those of you who've been studying Bach chorale harmony might know that on chord 5 we quite often put an octave leap in the bass just to give a bit of extra drive towards the cadence. So let's try that now. Yeah, and that's sounding pretty good. Great. Well, I hope that was interesting, guys. I wonder how you came up with your harmonisations, what they look like. That's all for now. See you again soon. Cheers.